At 95, Clint Eastwood is finally peeling back the curtain on his life and on the hard experiences that shaped how he views Hollywood and figures like Rob Reiner today. Born Clint Eastwood Jr. on May 31, 1930, in San Francisco, he entered a world crushed by the Great Depression, where security was rare and survival dictated every decision. His family moved constantly across California chasing work, and that instability burned independence into him. Early, while teaching him to keep his emotions tightly guarded, Clint was never the loud kid in the room. He observed more than he spoke, choosing his words carefully, a controlled presence that later became his trademark on screen. Music became his early refuge, especially jazz and piano, shaping his sense of timing, mood, and restraint. That same no-frills approach would later define his directing style. After high school, there was no smooth path forward. Eastwood worked real jobs as a lifeguard, lumberjack, and gas station attendant, learning toughness alongside everyday working people. That blue-collar mindset never left him. Hollywood didn't welcome him warmly either. After serving in the U.S. Army, Clint drifted into acting almost by chance. Universal Pictures signed him in the mid-1950s, then dropped him just as quickly. Studio executives criticized his looks, mocked his voice, and told him he had no charisma. Those words were meant to break him. Instead, they hardened his resolve. Clint stayed patient, kept refining his craft, and refused to become a studio puppet. His first real break came in 1959 with Rawhide, where he played Rowdy Yates for 8 seasons. The work paid the bills, but creatively, he felt boxed in. So he took a risk few actors would dare, leaving American television to make Italian westerns. That gamble changed everything. Sergio Leone's Dollars trilogy didn't just revive his career, it built a legend. Clint's man with no name barely spoke, barely reacted, yet dominated every frame. The stillness, the silences, the icy stare carried more power than pages of dialogue. Those films didn't just succeed, they reshaped the Western and quietly rewrote the image of masculinity on screen. Eastwood's strength came from control, not bravado. Audiences felt the tension immediately. With success came leverage, and for the first time, Clint wasn't asking permission. He was choosing. Films like Dirty Harry turned him into a box office force, sparking controversy and debate. Eastwood never softened his stance. He insisted his characters weren't statements, but flawed people navigating chaotic worlds. What surprised critics was his range. He refused to stay confined to one genre, moving through westerns, action films, thrillers, dramas, and even comedies. Behind the camera, he absorbed everything, studying, pacing, performance, and decision. When he fully embraced directing, his style was stripped down and confident. Few takes, natural lighting, no excess. He trusted actors and let scenes breathe. His films explored aging, regret, violence, and redemption without lectures or easy answers. That vision reached full force with Unforgiven in 1992, a film that dismantled the myth of the noble gunslinger and exposed the cost behind the legend. The industry could no longer dismiss him. The film earned him Academy Awards for Best Director and Best Picture, sealing his place as a serious filmmaking force. He followed with Mystic River, $1 Million Baby, Letters from Iwo Jima, Gran Torino, Changeling, and American Sniper, each reinforcing his reputation. And international recognition followed. Europe honored him repeatedly, including France's Legion of Honor and the Venice Film Festival's Golden Lion for Lifetime Achievement. These awards weren't about a single moment, but decades of work built on moral complexity and quiet emotional weight. Eastwood didn't just appear in film history. He helped shape it, away from the spotlight. His most complex relationship was his marriage to Maggie Johnson. They met in 1953 when Clint was broke, unknown, and struggling. Maggie brought stability when his future felt uncertain. They married that same year and remained together for decades as fame transformed their lives. The success that followed Rawhide and the Sergio Leone films strained the marriage. Clint's independence grew, his workload intensified, and long separations became routine. Maggie chose privacy over Hollywood's glare, focusing on raising their children and maintaining stability. The marriage was imperfect, marked by infidelity and distance, yet deeply intertwined. They raised 2 children, Kyle and Allison, while Maggie shielded them from Hollywood's chaos. They separated in 1978, with the divorce finalized years later, reflecting both Clint's immense success and Maggie's role during his climb. Relationship shaped Clint's understanding of responsibility and the personal cost of ambition. Now, looking back at more than 70 years in Hollywood, Eastwood speaks with rare directness. When asked about Rob Reiner, there is no bitterness in his voice, only reflection. He openly acknowledges Reiner's talent, crediting his early films for their warmth, humor, and understanding of character. What concerns Clint isn't Reiner. as an individual, but what he represents in a changing industry. In Eastwood's view, Hollywood once thrived on curiosity and disagreement. Somewhere along the way, it shifted towards certainty. And certainty, he believes, is dangerous in art. He draws a line between storytelling and preaching. His own philosophy was never about telling audiences what to think, but about showing people who they are. To Clint, the divide between himself and Reiner isn't political. It's philosophical. I wants to win arguments. The other wants to ask questions. At 95, Eastwood isn't settling scores. He's issuing a quiet warning shaped by experience. Moral certainty, he believes, closes doors that storytelling should leave open. Fear, not disagreement, is what truly threatens creativity. He worries about younger filmmakers trapped by approved opinions. Afraid to be honest. Clint Eastwood's truth about Rob Reiner isn't explosive. It's heavy. It's the reflection of an artist who watched Hollywood trade curiosity for conformity. To him, the industry once welcomed outsiders. Now, too many are trying to prove they belong on the inside. And that shift, more than any single name, is what matters most.